As Erica said, it is summer. For me and my family, that means lots of time at the pool and lots of money spent at Sonic at happy hour. I don't know what it means for you, but for many in our community, families experience the hardest time during the summer. Children are left at home to be caregivers for younger siblings as day camps and daycare is out of the question, and paychecks that are already stretched thin are stretched even thinner to accommodate the increased expenses of utilities and food and laundry. Wilshire, 3 years ago, was approached by one of our local mission partners, City Square, and asked if we would consider adopting an apartment complex just down the road for 10 weeks to help support their Food on the Move program. Food on the Move is a mobile unit that travels throughout the Metroplex on different routes and delivers lunches to children who may go out without otherwise. And so what we do as a church is we enlist volunteers to come out to the complex during the lunch hour. We're calling it an alternative lunch break for those of you who are still working, and to provide recreational activities in hopes of drawing out more children who will then, in hopes, get lunch that day. This has actually become a best practice model that City Square has asked other churches to do, and it's also in other cities as well. So as well as the unstructured recreational time, we also host, this summer we'll host 2 free enrichment camps for children. The first one we hosted this past week, Science Camp. And I'd like to invite Haley DeVault to come and share with us a little bit about her experience this week. Science Camp was actually researched and written and designed by one of our own 4th graders, Colin Adcox. And Haley stepped in big time as she was our lead scientist. This week, Haley brought Colin's school project to life through her teachings and her demonstrations. So Haley, as an attorney by trade, how did it feel to engage in this volunteer opportunity at this capacity?
A lot scarier than my day job, actually. I'm not a teacher, certainly not a science teacher, so thank you, Colin, for all your help. But I guess luckily I don't mind getting up and making a fool of myself in front of children. And I really love science, so I think I had just as much fun this week as the kids did with the experiments, so it was a great week.
One of the things that Colin taught me is that if children do not develop a love for science by the age of 10, they're more than likely not to develop a love for science at all. I guess that was the case for me. And so, so we were happy to be able to provide this experience for children in hopes to get them to love science. So what did the day look like? How did we do this camp? How was it run?
We had a different theme every day. For example, Monday we talked about matter, and so we tried to, I prepared kind of a lesson to discuss with the children. We tried to make it interactive, so we brought the kids up and pretended they were molecules and atoms and stuff. And then we had an interactive experiment to perform with them. On Monday we made slime. I think that was the favorite of the week. So it was hopefully educational and entertaining as well.
And Haley, being a mom yourself of 2 beautiful daughters, what was your hope for the children to gain from this week?
I think, as you said, just a love of science. I've always loved science. I'm hoping my children love science. And I love that kids have a natural curiosity. And I was just trying to kind of tap into that there's so many questions about the world around us that science can help answer. And I do that a lot with my children, trying to help them understand, ask these tough questions, and let's see if we can find the answers to them doing fun experiments.
And do you have a favorite moment that you want to share with us of how you saw God at work or through the eyes of the kids?
Again, I think the kids would say making slime was probably their favorite, but one day we talked about motion and aerodynamics, and we made like little paper airplanes. And there were a couple of boys that I was helping, and they so meticulously crafted this airplane and they were so excited to race them. So they stood up and they launched their paper airplanes. And one in particular, it went way across the yard. It went so much further than I think he expected it. And he had such a look of pride and joy and amazement in his work, and he was so happy. And that's probably the moment that sticks out in my mind the most.
Wonderful. Well, thanks to Haley and to the many other volunteers that made Science Camp such a success for these children. We look forward to continuing to hear the many stories that flow out of the veranda through our interaction with these children and through their language, which is the language of play. Many of you have signed up through your Sunday school classes to take an alternative lunch break this summer, and if you haven't, there's still 2 weeks that are left to be adopted. We'll also host in mid-July, we're going to host a reading camp, and so if you're interested in leading a small group of kids at reading camp, you can always email me for more details for that. Well, thank you, Wilshire, for always being a church that fills in the gaps when it's needed.